I'm gonna try to. Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just try to find where we are. Awesome. Can you view yourself as well as you're speaking? Or?
I can on StreamYard. Yeah, I can see myself now. But am I supposed to open the Facebook as well? Or that's not necessary?
No, you don't have to. No,
Okay.
you don't have to.
All right.
You don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Wondering if there's a lag. Thanks, Daniel, for being there. Okay, cool. Okay, Puveshini. Okay. Is it lagging on your Facebook?
Are you speaking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I logged out of Facebook. You want me to check?
Oh, okay. Yeah, can you maybe just? Yeah. Oh no, it's okay.
It's okay.
I think. Yeah, we're just a little bit lagging, I think.
I can hear myself. So I guess if I opened Facebook, it might not.
Yeah, we're just a little bit lagging, I think. A little bit only, yeah?
I can hear myself.
Cool.
So I guess if I opened Facebook, it might not.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, Puveshini, thanks for coming in. Maybe just like a quick, just a quick chat before we start. Yeah. So you've been doing CleanSight for a long time, right?
Yeah, around like 6-7 years.
6-7 years, yeah. And it was wonderful to have met you. How many years ago? Maybe 5 years ago?
Sure. I think I met you at WAO. Was it WAO?
Yeah, definitely WAO. Definitely WAO. And you specialize mostly with what target group?
With adults and teens.
And what kind of issues do you normally see or deal with?
I usually deal with majority of anxiety, depression, and part of when I work with children, it's mostly about psychological assessments. So I do a lot of psych assessments for schools and also for adults who need psych assessment for work. And so I prepare reports and also talk therapy and diagnosis, intervention, those kind of things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And personally, how have you been finding the COVID thing? We still haven't started the interview, but just casual chat first.
I think I'm doing fine because I think I finally have time to do a lot of stuff that I just to calm down, like because everyone is not working and there's no jam and all that, so I can just recuperate. But the only problem is without doing all of that, now we are all online, so there's a lot of time with tech, which I don't usually like anyway. So it's about adjusting. So and I'm staying with my family, so that's a good thing. So food is there, people are there, so I'm grateful for that. So just trying to be grateful for one moment at a time.
And you're a mommy now as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Still trying to figure it out.
Well, you have the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
You'll still be figuring it out.
Because they always change, right? You think you've gotten them figured out, and then they change the next month, and then it's like this whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
How have you been doing?
Well,
I see you're very busy.
Yeah, I'm doing really well actually up until today. I think now that we've started doing the live streaming, I think today is probably the day that stressed me out the most.
Is this the first day?
Today is the first day that we've started.
Right.
Yeah, that we've tried to start doing live streaming. So I think I've been so averse to using technology, and also find it quite hard to reconcile with being so public as well, of sorts. I mean, I'm okay like radio and, you know, TV maybe a little bit, and writing articles, but this is like a little bit full on. So not something that I ever really wanted to do, but I think it's quite important. So I think what drove this is the community need. So doing it for the community has helped. So I'm not doing this because I need to do it for work or whatever it is. And so there's one part which is reconciling with what I didn't really like to do, or didn't agree with actually. Anyone doing Facebook Live, I just get bored and blah blah blah. But the other thing was, sometimes it just feels very like what do you call it? A lot of self-importance to the person. So I'm glad this is more about community and blah blah blah, and just really supporting the kind of issues that are going there. The second thing I think that I'm reconciling with today, more than any other day, is the technological glitches. And just trying to make guests feel, well, you're the second guest. So just really hoping that guests also have a good experience, because you're obviously going through your own things at the back of things, and then making sure that the community benefits from it, so that even if it's 30-minute interview, then we can scale and have more people benefit from it. So I'm just really grateful to have you here, because the level of depression, anxiety, stress, as of last year or the year before, was reported at already 30% of the population in Malaysia experiencing it. And that's a significant amount. I'm sure people have always, had moderate to high levels, but now that they're doing data reporting and stuff. Exactly. These are just reported cases. I'm actually very curious, Puveshini, that that data is not so available, and we don't even understand how this data is recorded. So that's something that I'm really quite concerned about with regards to, I don't know, community-wide or government initiated thing. Like, can we please get some reports, and some accurate reports with full details as to how you've come about getting this information? So as of last year, it was already, or the year before, it was reported 30%. I'm sure with the hit of COVID-19, that it's definitely much higher. The people that I've been hearing from, super stressed financially, emotionally, even with their families and stuff like that. So that's so I'm really grateful, that you're here, and the focus will be on techniques, because to listen versus to be able to practice it and see benefits is completely different, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you said that, right? Like, and this is also something I was going to talk about. Like, when in difficult times like this, when you have a value that drives you, like you want to contribute, it kind of pushes you to do something that you might not like to do it, but you can still do it in spite of not liking it. And I think that's a very powerful message.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yes.
It's always nice to speak to a psychologist, huh? They have a way of always making somebody feel better. So we've hit 3:00. Whoever is on, thank you so much for coming on. I'm mindful that I forgot to introduce myself in the earlier interview. My name is Hetal Doshi. I work as an organizational psychologist. We support psychological success of populations in organizations specifically. The reason why we're on this call today this interview today with Puveshini is because mental health related issues were already on the rise before COVID-19. People have been talking a lot about mental health related issues before this already. much so, what more now, right? So obviously there's a huge spike. Even as a psychologist, I'm not separate from being a human being. I feel it. I'm sure everybody else feels it. Actually, Puveshini, before I get on to you, I did a bit of, I've been on a journey of interviewing many people. And I found that a lot of leaders or specifically people who have to look after this situation, when I ask them if they have any fears, they say no. But when I probe a little bit more, they're like, yeah, obviously they are. So it's that feeling that even those who are trying to be strong, if we just peel the onion a little bit, you can sense that there's a lot of deep anxieties. So Puveshini is a clinical psychologist. That's different from an organizational psychologist, equally, if not just, more important than the masses itself, because you're dealing with not numbers, you're dealing with a human life at a time. So Puveshini, a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing.
Okay, I'm a clinical psychologist. I practice at Rekindle Center for Systemic Therapy. We're in Hartamas. It's a private center where we work primarily with couples, individuals, children, teenagers, everyone across the board who has or is experiencing some form of distress, whether be it from mental health issues or just daily life struggles that they have, that they want to talk to someone to help solve it or give them a different perspective, or work with them to actually get them from point A to point B. So that's in a very, very simple way. That's how I could describe what we do. And for me personally, my personal interest is to kind of like work on improving people's psychological flexibility. So when you talk about flexibility, it's always about the body, right? You exercise, you improve your movement, your stamina and stuff like that. But nobody actually thinks about how can we improve our mental flexibility? How do we change the way we think, or how we think, or how we are feeling things, depending on the situation? It doesn't need to be, this is me, and this is how I'm going to be forever and ever. So that's
I love the word flexibility so much more than agility. Honestly, it makes so much more human sense. So thanks for that. Actually, before we get into the techniques and stuff like that, right? You've obviously supported many individuals across 6 to 7 years, and that's a lot. That's a lot of people that you would have met. Can you share 3 insights that you've had about why people aren't able to resolve their issues on their own? What makes it so hard for us to resolve our own internal issues?
Okay. So sometimes, a lot of times when we talk about an individual, it's not just them. We're looking at them, but what we're not seeing is their experience, their learned behaviors, their family, the values that they have. And all of these things, like what we are seeing right in front of us, is an cumulative effect of all that 20 years of life, or 21 years of life, or 50 years of life, right? And not everyone has the same kind of experience that allows them to learn the abilities to solve their own problems. Because solving a problem is essentially, you learn how to do it. But in our society, when you look at children, when they cry, the first thing that comes up is stop crying. So what we are teaching them is it's wrong to show emotions. So then they start putting it in. I can't talk about my emotions. And this is across, like when you talk about when you have sons, you tell your son, boys don't cry. Boys be strong. So, but this is a human being who is susceptible to emotions, and they might feel sad, they might feel angry, they might feel down, but nobody actually teaches us how to handle these emotions. And here we are having all these emotions and not knowing what to do with them. So you kind of turn inward and you hurt yourself, basically.
So what you're trying to say is, so number one, so the question, 3 reasons why we can't resolve our own issues, our own internal issues. So number one, you're saying accumulation of experiences that we haven't had maybe an insight about or an awareness about, and it starts from childhood. It starts from childhood, sometimes even before you can process it. Sorry for that. Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Hi.
Sorry, I just got in.
Yeah.
I think if you can change the view to the third view, can you go to that?
How do I do that?
Above the name, can you see like there's like a
okay,
small
got
little.
Yay!
So go to the other one, the third one, where it's 3 equal sizes.
3 equal sizes. I can't see
the third one from the left. Yeah, the third one from the left.
Third one from the left.
Yes.
I can only see 2 for that. Second one from the left, you mean?
Try the second one from the left. Okay, yep, that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, Puveshini. Sorry for that.
No problem.
So one is so Daniel's been really extremely supportive. He actually, sorry to just take 1 second if I can. Daniel actually, because of his focus on community building, has really been probably one of the reasons why I feel like I need to do my part as well. And on top of that, he's been helping me with really calming my nerves with technology. And he will later be someone that we can kind of try our techniques on as well.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So number one, accumulation of past experiences that we're not aware of. 2 other reasons why we don't seem to be able to resolve our own internal issues.
I think the first one is because of the past experience, we don't have the information we need, that information that we need to solve our problems ourselves. Because based on our experience didn't ready us for this sort of like a trigger or this sort of an emotion. So when we don't have that information, we can't learn how to solve our own problems, or at least not.
What information are you talking about? What example of that?
Information about how to, because from young we are taught to learn about the outside world, the external world.
Okay.
Learn your ABCs, learn how photosynthesis happens, and all these things. But nobody actually.
So you mean education? We don't have the education on.
We don't have the information or the skills that is required for us to manage our own EQ, our own thoughts, our emotions, our actions.
Okay.
Right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's kind of that's so devastating that we as kids are not taught about these things. So accumulation of experiences, lack of education and skill building towards this. And thirdly,
and when you're a child and your family is not able to provide you this information, it's because probably they didn't have this. So then you are living in a society that collectively doesn't know how to deal with this problem. So no one talks about it. So collectively we have been told that when you have a problem, hide it. You know, don't air your dirty laundry outside. Any problem you have, keep it, swallow it, try to manage. Even though you're doing a poor job at it, just keep doing it as best as you can, right? So we are told to do this. So we don't have that support system that would support us through dealing with these problems, which are very, very important. Because when you lack that information, you don't have that social support outside, and you have this inbuilt thought patterns that is a result of all these two issues, the learned behavior plus the lack of social support. You become very inflexible in the way you're thinking, very inflexible in the way you're behaving, which then causes you to perpetuate the problems. So you don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing is causing the problem to still remain. So then it leads to hopelessness, and then you have all this mental health issues coming up.
Right.
So
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's pretty sad that people try. It's not that they don't. They do try to solve their own problems, and to a large extent, they are the masters of their life. So they sometimes can do it. But when it gets too much, that's outside the skill set that they have, then they become like lost, and then they try to do whatever they've done before, which might not be helpful in the current situation.
Yeah. They lean back on their past behavior. So it's like a triggered triggering society that is also not competent. So the society at large as well is not competent. So 3 things, like my own experiences, my own skill set, and also a poorly skilled social support system of sorts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And actually, Puveshini, I'm curious to know, as a psychologist, have you ever seen a psychologist? Because you're human as well.
Yeah, I have.
Have you? Yeah. Good. Me too.
Yes.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, people tend to forget
valuable.
that. People tend to forget that psychologists are human beings.
Yeah, what about you, Danielle? Have you ever gone
I have seen that he decided to take me not on a professional basis. So, yeah, I was just checking on something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was very lucky when I was working in a consulting company that my boss and my immediate boss also was a psychologist. So I was going through a really rough period of time, maybe about 7, 8 years ago, and he noticed it all the time, and we had amazing, wonderful chats about me and what I was going through as well. So it was extremely valuable. So people out there who so our friends out there, come on, man, like no more stigma, okay? Even psychologists need psychologists and should definitely go to psychologists because, as you said, rates are also quite high. Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, okay. Shall we move to some techniques?
Yes.
We're talking about 3 techniques today, yeah?
Yeah. So first, I just want to set like the context for this, right? And given the situation that we are in, it's a situation where there's a lot of uncertainty, ambiguity, and there's a lot lack of people who feel a lack of control in this kind of situation. So when this happens, our body goes into this survival mechanism because we want to do something. The fight or flight mechanisms gets triggered because we sense this is a threat, but we don't know what to do about this. We can't run, we can't hide, we're told to stay at home. But what do I do at home? So in the face of this threat, what happens is our mind basically starts telling us a lot of what if scenarios. What if this happens? What if I die? What if my family is infected? What if I lose money? What if I don't have enough food? So when you have all these very future-oriented, catastrophic kind of thoughts, you go into like a panic state. Okay, anxiety starts increasing, stress starts building, worries, fears, all of that starts to surface. And when we don't know what to do with all of this, then it kind of spills over. It affects our relationships, it affects our ability to function at work, it affects all these different things. But on the most basic level, it affects your body. And that is something that people don't realize because you're always doing, what's next. But you don't realize, you don't take a pause to actually think what's happening within me. Right. So the first technique is the stop technique.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, before you get into the technique, I never recognized that so much. But before, when I was younger, I didn't feel the impact on my body. But as I'm growing older, I can see that. And I don't know, anyone who ever got married, you kind of definitely see a change in your body type, right? Like your body literally changes. You know, the form of the body even changes. Like I even feel like my nose has become a little bit different from a different face I had. So the easiest way for people to understand this is when you are going through some episode in your life, do you feel any physical symptoms? And try to think about it that way. So Danielle, maybe before we get to the techniques, Danielle, just as a human being, non-psychologist, have you ever felt like you were going through an episode and your body had physical symptoms?
I think the general physical symptom that I used to have is actually in terms of anxiety was that that I literally feel like really weak going into exam hall that I didn't study. Like my body like just feels like so physically weak and cold and but I don't notice any like physical change in terms of that. Yeah, so that was something that it wasn't often. It was just maybe probably in my entire uni life it happened once. So that was probably something. There is another issue. I think that's more on my gut bacteria, but I do not know whether if there's any psychological link to it. But generally, the condition was like I had a terrible food poisoning, and it sort of screwed up my gut bacteria. So quite a fair bit. Yeah.
Okay.
On reflection, can you see any link between the emotional stress that you were going through and its direct impact on your gut? When you reflect
honestly, I want to say yes, but actually it's no because as you know, I took a bit of a sabbatical I thought it was stress. I thought it was so anxiety would work. It still happened. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Puveshini, let's get into techniques.
Yes. So like when you're talking about the changes in our body, right? I'm not talking more about the changes externally, but it's about how we feel the changes as things are happening. So as they are happening, what are the sensations I'm feeling in my body? So Daniel mentioned like when you're walking into the exam hall, right? And then that's the triggering event. That's the event. And then the sensations in your body, like your heart rate. How was your heart rate at that time? Sometimes
I
it's
remember
high.
it's like cold.
Yeah, and you feel cold. That's a sensation in your body. Your limbs would feel cold. Some people have that butterfly in their stomach. So all these sensations is actually our body telling us that, hey, you're feeling anxious. And why you're feeling anxious? Because you have this thought that, oh my God, this is an exam. What if I fail? What if I don't know how to answer? So it's all interconnected with one another. And that is the awareness that we need to have that can ground us to the present in times of high stress. Okay. Right? So the first technique to build that awareness is the stop technique. So S is for stop. T is to take deep breaths. And this is something that I think everyone's familiar with, right? You take deep breaths to calm your heart rate. And that's just biology. So the more you breathe, the calmer you feel. Okay. And then O is for observe. Observe what's happening. And P is to proceed. So the next technique that we're going to do, the body scan, is going to help us do this observation in the moment as it's happening in our body. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just... Okay. So Daniel, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So anyone who's listening, feel free to just follow the instruction and just follow what I'm saying and just experience that as we go along. Okay. Right. So sit in a comfortable position. And bring your attention to your body. Okay, you can close your eyes if you're comfortable. Or just have a soft gaze. Okay, take a deep breath. And release. In your mind's eye, you can notice your body seated. You can feel the weight of your body on the chair. Okay, take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring your attention to the top of your head. Sense this area. What do you feel? Is there a stillness or a feeling running through your hair? Breathe, and as you breathe, relax the top of your head. And if you don't feel any sensation, just gently notice the feeling of not feeling anything. And continue breathing. Bring your attention to the side of your head, in your ears. What do you sense? Do you hear anything? Notice the sounds of your surroundings and gently bring your attention back to your body. Gently notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft. Breathe into it and relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. If you notice a frown, gently release that. I'll continue breathing in and out. It'll be a good time to notice how your facial expressions are and gently smile. And notice how your facial muscles relax. Notice your back against the chair. Is there a stiffness or a tense feeling? Just notice the sensations and gently breathe into it, relaxing your back. Bring your attention to your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Continue breathing in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? Is it in a fist? See if you can allow them to soften and just leave your palm open and loose. Let your shoulders be soft. With every breath in and out, relax the muscles in your shoulders. Bring your attention to your legs and feet. Feel your feet touching the ground and make a connection with it. What do you feel in your feet? Is there a soft carpet? The feel of the cold floor? How is your weight distributed on your feet? Now notice your whole body present. Just feel the sensations in your body right now as you're experiencing it. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay? How was it?
Yeah. Daniel, you can go first. Getting so woozy.
Someone in the comment actually say good, and Lisa say here. That's the first thing I noticed. But yeah,
how did you feel?
I feel good actually, but almost fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And did you notice any sensations that you weren't aware of before?
For some reason, I'm quite aware of a lot of sensation. There was just this thing I just needed to scratch, but
yeah.
But it was actually quite rejuvenating. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah. Yes. How was it for you, Heather?
I'm sitting on a moving, what do you call this kind of a chair?
A chair
that.
Yeah,
that. I honestly felt like I was moving. I really felt like I was moving. I felt so calm. I could feel more things than the moment you say pay attention, I could feel more and experience more. And I just felt like, I know this is a bit lame, but you know, like when your mom is like holding you and you're completely safe.
Yeah.
I felt very like held, if that makes sense. And you have a really good voice, Puveshini.
Thank you.
You're very calming. Yeah. Thanks. That's really good.
Yes. And this is something that, I was guiding you, but you were doing it yourself. You were experiencing it and you were experiencing your own body and you have the tools. to make yourself feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
And that is something that people can do on their own.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But we don't, right? Like,
we don't.
A lot of us,
yeah.
You know, like, I mean, breathing is like something that everybody is talking about these days. Not everybody, but like generally people talk about. People that I know talk about breathing, we talk about visualization. We don't really have the discipline to do it though, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
When it's most needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can you explain why do you being disciplined for breathing?
A discipline to make time to breathe when it is most needed.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes we know,
for example,
go on.
So, for example, the technological glitch and stuff like that. I mean, I am a big practitioner of breathing. I do a lot of guided meditation for others as well, of sorts. But in that moment, it's really hard to just be like, okay, stop, and then do like 3 counts of it. You'll feel much better. So it's in that moment, I think, when we are so triggered that we need it the most and we forget. But go ahead, Puveshini.
Yeah, and I think the reason is that we are and because we, like Hetal, you and I we meet a lot of people who are like us in the field, right? So when we talk about, it's easy to think that, okay, everyone knows about breathing, but actually when you talk to somebody who's not in the field, they'll be like, why must I have discipline to breathe? Breathing just happens. You know, so we take it for granted. But it's the most basic thing that
isn't it?
That's at our disposal that we can use to calm ourselves and to just take that moment to calm our heart rate, to calm the sensations. But when we are not even aware of what's happening in our body, it's hard to do something about it because I'm not aware.
Can I give you an example? It's a really cute example of a participant of mine in the past when we were doing breathing activities and they had homework. So she went home and she actually did her homework. Very few do, by the way. So she went home and her issue is that her kid, is super naughty, according to her, loves jumping off things and she gets so annoyed. So she said, let me just try and do this. Okay, let me just try once and see if I would respond differently. So normally what she does is that she screams at the child, like, stop jumping, da, 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 da. Can you stop doing that? So she tried to do the breathing thing, which is just simple, breathe in 4 counts, hold 6 counts. After she did that, she actually told the kid, like, okay, fly, I will catch you. Instead of like that typical mechanism, can you stop this? She actually went to the, you know what, fly, it's okay, I'll come and catch you. Completely different behavior that obviously creates so much more benefits in terms of your relationship, you're not creating that anger, toxicity on your body, so on and so forth. So, it's really in that moment that, of course, you need to do a lot of practice before, every morning, whatever not. But it's in that moment we do it. It's really powerful.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because because when I was talking, when I set the context for this whole thing, right? We're talking about how stress forces us to go into this fight or flight mechanism. Like our stress system is triggered. And so when your stress mechanism is triggered, what happens is you become very emotional because you need to act impulsively and right away to save yourself from whatever threat is it that's in your environment. So in the caveman era, that was productive because if you didn't act right away, you might be eaten by a tiger or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But in the modern world, that doesn't happen. The things that we think are threats are like the child jumping around and technological glitches, or my boss is going to shout at me. Things like this are perceived as threat. So our body goes into this whole emotional way of behaving. And our amygdala, the part of the brain, the emotion center gets hijacked. And then you're acting based on your emotions. So when you take a moment to breathe and be aware of what's happening right now in your body, you're better able to make decisions that are more productive in the present moment. So you're better able to distinguish that, okay, this is not really a threat. I can think about this in a different way, in a more productive way, and I can act on it in that way. And so that creates a more helpful cycle of things that will follow through.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we're going to do another technique as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so in relation to that body awareness, one thing that I'll ask my clients to do is do a weather report, like to check in, what am I feeling right now after after the exercise? What am I feeling in my body? The sensations.
I was gonna give you an actual weather report. Sorry.
What am I feeling in my heart? What am I feeling in my heart? What are the emotions here, right? And what's going on in my mind?
Curious, they have a lot of digital apps nowadays to like track your heart rate and blah blah.
Yeah.
What do you think about? So on one hand, you pay attention, you kind of get that data. On the other hand, you have like digital. Daniel might know some digital apps that actually kind of curate this for you. What do you think about those? Are you a believer or?
I'm a very, I don't really like tech. I have to use it. I'm very like old school. I like journaling. I like writing things down. I like doing stuff like that because I just feel it grounds me. But I do have clients who use that. And for me, whatever it is that you're using, whether it's an app or the old school method, I think workability and the utility of that is very important. So if it works for you, it helps you notice and be more aware, it's fine. It's okay. It's good. But if it's causing you to become more anxious, so you're constantly checking in, it went up one digit, so I need to do something. Or it went up, you're constantly, being tied to that, and it's stopping you from doing other things, and it's causing more anxiety, then that awareness needs to be there, to be alert about things like that.
Yeah, so whether it's working for you or working against you, I guess.
Yeah.
Daniel, what do you think?
I think they're generally tools. So a lot of, so I was going to say one of the techniques that, or at least the things that I use to manage my fear is something called fear setting. Essentially is to list down what are my fears and also what's the worst case scenario and what can I do to prevent it. So what's the worst could happen and what to do to prevent it. And I think that there's a lot of apps and also people who do bullet journaling. Essentially it's just to keep track on how they feel. So it's just a dipstick to figure out like, okay, like in the morning, okay, I feel great, like in the afternoon and what. So you can take a step back to look back over a month, a week, or so on. How do you what's your overall feeling? And so just a check, like you either do it daily or you do it like twice or 3 times a day, basically.
Yeah. I'm probably more inclined to saying that the human body or a human being has very superior levels of intelligence, and sometimes using technology, it's not whether it's working for you or not working for you or working against you. For me, is it coming in the way of superior self knowledge and wisdom? Is it coming in the way? If that makes sense, because there are a lot of people like, when they meditate, the kind of things that they experience it's just out of this world, and focusing on that experience rather than having something that tracks you. We don't even know how it's being tracked. I'm not sure whether then you shift your understanding towards the data rather than the entire experience, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it has its benefits as well. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead with the second technique if that's okay. Puveshini.
Okay,
thanks.
so when what I was saying about the weather report, right? When you are kind of trying to be more aware, what am I feeling in my body right now? The sensations. What am I feeling in my heart? What are the emotions there? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling fear? Am I worried? And what's going on in my mind? So usually our mind time travels, like I said earlier, right? It's always going to the future. It's always going to the past. So when you have a lot of future-oriented, catastrophic thoughts, then you get a lot of anxiety, which is coming up a lot more right now in this COVID situation, because a lot of people have a lot of uncertainties, right? So when you're going on this, you're just kind of running on this treadmill, and it's going on and on and on. You need to find a way to stop it. And usually stopping your thought, you can't just say stop and it's not going to work. Because have you tried telling yourself not to think of a pink elephant in a green skirt?
We just talked about that.
Yeah, right? And that'll be the first image that comes up, right? So one thing that you can do is ground yourself using your senses in the present. So very simply, like, Hazel, what are three things that you see around you?
I see my whiteboard, I see my marker, and I see a little quote called, "Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end."
Okay. And you see like a stuffed toy, Daniel?
I see Yuki.
Yes.
I
Okay.
see this tool set and my phone.
All right.
Which,
What are some things that you can smell in your room? What are some scents?
expired coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
I'm so jealous. Daniel.
Because I drink cold coffee, that's why I can keep them for a few days.
I can smell the cold of the aircon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Is there any taste? Any taste? Any memory of taste that's in your mouth, lingering?
So I'm gonna laugh because I'm currently fasting, so my tongue is bland.
Okay, yeah. Just notice that taste. Notice how that.
Yeah.
Notice your
Just like,
bland. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is
Sorry,
burnt. I drank
it's not coffee, so don't worry.
Okay. All right. Yeah, mine is like a burnt. I think I burnt myself drinking coffee.
All right. Anything you hear? Just close your eyes and try to listen to things around you. Is there anything that's going on? All the minute sounds that you probably miss, but you can hear right now?
Definitely. Actually, just now during the earlier session, what I heard was like people playing Korean drama and a whole bunch of things. Like I was like, oh. Actually, when that sound came in, I'm like, I know which episode this is. I don't watch Korean drama.
Oh my God, Daniel. I can hear that. Oh, sorry. What, Daniel? Sorry.
No, it's just because I saw that episode because I generally don't watch Korean drama, but I heard that, I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I can hear like a signaling kind of a very
a static sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm mindful that we have 5 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah. And what can you feel like in your skin? Like what are you coming in contact with right now?
The cold exterior of my chair, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cheapo IKEA chair.
Yeah. Even the sensation of your clothes against your skin. Right? Are you able to be aware of that?
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of my leg is actually pushed up against the wall.
Yeah. And how does the wall feel?
The wall feels nice because it's actually the afternoon sun. The wall is a bit warm.
Yeah. Yes. So what did we just do is just basically ground ourselves to the present moment using simply our senses. So these are also things that we have. We have our senses and we can use them to ground ourselves to the present. So it's at least creating that moment of a breather for us from that endless chatter in our mind. So whenever you are aware that this is happening, you stop, you observe what's happening inside of you, you take your weather report, and then you can either ground yourself using your 5 senses, or if you have more time, then you can do the whole body scan. And it gives you that relaxation, that few moments of breather before you can think, how can I proceed from this situation in a way that's going to be helpful for me? Yeah.
That's actually very helpful.
Yeah. Maybe Daniel. Yeah. Daniel, what was the biggest value that you took away from this?
I think that was something really helpful because I think one of the projects that when Hader and I were working at, we were smack right in KL, and it's as not as much as it's accessible to like a park and etc. But we don't have that. We see all the people, so there's that level of anxiety of being in the city. Everyone is there, so it's a good technique to just observe and take note, and so you can take note of literally everything, like that that janitor who's at the side, or the makcik, or who's selling nasi lemak at the side or whatever. So it's quite useful and very versatile.
Yeah.
I'd like to share it. I think, Puveshini, you've given me a gift today, because I'm not being dramatic, but when I was doing the first one, I could really feel like as though somebody was like cuddling me, like a mom. And then when you ask the question of what can you feel on your skin, I could actually feel my mom cuddling me.
Yeah.
It's not just the physical things that we feel, but the energetic. I'm gonna tear.
Oh, hey,
thanks.
Yeah.
My mom's gonna be like, oh, yay. That was really good. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, so Puveshini, I think one of the good things that have happened as well is that BFM. Oh, oops. All right. Okay, forget about what I just said over here.
Yeah.
But there are already people asking, to kind of, how can I get in touch with Puveshini and stuff like that. So, you have spent almost an hour of your time with us.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure anyone watching it can have that value as well. So really, really, really grateful for your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Daniel.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing these techniques. I think I will try to practice it more, basically, especially over this time. And I could be more present. And thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hazel.
Coolies. Alrighty. Well, we tagged Puveshini on the post as well. So anyone wants to get in touch with her, you know where to go as well. Good luck with everything. Good luck with being a new mommy.
Yeah, thank you.
Trying to figure out tech. And is there any parting words that you want to give all of us during COVID times?
I think at this point, everyone is struggling with fighting some sort of battle, right, with their own self and also the situation. But I think it's very important to stay grounded, stay mindful, and stay present, and focus on what you can control right now. What's right in front of you? What's the one thing that you can do right now that will help you move through this time? We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what the following week is going to bring. But right now, that's in your hands. So just try to be mindful and ground yourself.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Take care. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
very much.
And thank you, Daniel.
Thanks for actually doing this and letting me join this session. Thank you.
Don't be silly, Daniel. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.